I've been asked why I chose this plant as the subject of my chapter for this book, The Mind of Plants. Well, this is a very special plant. This is Banisteriopsis capi, the scientific name, but it is otherwise known as ayahuasca, yahe, and many other vernacular names, because this is used by many indigenous communities in the upper Amazon. It is considered a very sacred plant. Sometimes it's associated with the river, with the serpent, as we can see, as an umbilical cord. Some indigenous groups say that ayahuasca is a new umbilical cord connecting the human beings to the universe. This plant is usually used in combination with other plants. The most important are Diplopterus cabrerana, used in Colombia and Ecuador, and Cicotre viridis in Peru, Brazil, and Bolivia. We have here in our garden these two plants, so let's see them. In Colombia and Ecuador, the vine is used with another vine of the same family. This is Malpighiaceae, and this is Diplopterus cabrerana. In Colombia and Ecuador, they use the leaves. They combine the vine with the leaves of this plant, of this other vine. Again, because of the drought we are going through, the plant is now quite sad, even though we water as much as we can, but anyway. So in Peru, Bolivia, and here in Brazil, this is the main admixture plant. This is Cicotre viridis, called chacruna, chacrona. The Brazilian religious organizations call it also rainha. And so these two plants are used together, the leaves of this one and the vine Banisteriopsis capi. This is again ayahuasca. It's an experiment. This was idolized by Dale Millar, this South African naturalist here in southern Brazil. He planted a garapuvu, which is one of the fastest growing trees in the Atlantic coastal forest, together with an ayahuasca vine. Now the beautiful thing is that these two plants are growing together. They are going up. Ayahuasca will not kill the plant. Somehow it will respect, leaving the leaves of the garapuvu in place without covering them, so that the garapuvu continues growing up and the vine is going around it and growing and growing. And so this is a beautiful way to plant vertically ayahuasca together with a fast-growing tree. This is perhaps something which can be repeated in many other places. The association of a fast-growing tree together with ayahuasca. In this way you can plant a lot. And there is one very important phenomenon here. The ayahuasca produces a lot of these twigs. It's everywhere you see these twigs. And they fall to the ground, and the garapuvu also produces a lot of branches which fall to the ground. So this is a way to produce biomass. So our idea is that gradually there will be much more biomass here and planting many others, and then in between you can plant other trees like fruit trees, because this will form like a sort of canopy protecting smaller trees here. This is also Banisteriopsis capi, ayahuasca, but it is another variety. The difference with this variety is that it has nodules all along the stem, big ones here, those all the way up. Dave Millar, who is working with us here, suspect that this is really another species. It's not the same as the other one, which has very straight vines with no nodules. So we don't know. We are waiting for this plant to flower. But of course, some chemical studies should be made at some point. Anyway, this plant has been very important for me in my life. I first encountered ayahuasca, yahe, in Colombia in 1971. And that encounter for me was enough to change completely my career, in a way, my studies in general. This was in 71. In 1979, I went again to Colombia, to the area where I was born, and then have a ceremony with an Ingano shaman, Don Apolinar Yacanamijoy. And what that second session made, I became convinced that it is impossible to understand the worldview of Amazonian, at least many Amazonian indigenous groups, without reference to these sacred plants.